Well, well, well. It appears that the Donald Trump tariff train has come to an end. That train that has been steamrolling the last 3 to 4 months, that narrative of tariffs and global trade war has finally come to an end. If you guys haven't heard, the tariffs between China and the United States have been just put on pause. They've been put on pause and the stock market is rallying, of course. All right. The two largest economies in the world have decided to finally play ball again. You know, we've decided, hey, we don't want to put our countries in major recessions or depressions for that matter, because that's what it will be if we keep this up for too long. You know, Donald Trump and his aggressive ways would have caused that, to be honest. We do not have the ability to pivot overnight. In businesses, cannot pivot in one day, 1 year, maybe 2 years, 5 years. It's very difficult to get the capital arranged properly, get the land, get the permits, get everything you need, the supply chain set up to set up manufacturing for the United States. So this whole time of tariffs, bringing back jobs to the United States, it was a bunch of BS. You know, it was a bait and switch strategy that Donald Trump had to, broil up the base, get people enthusiastic about the United States. And that's all fine and dandy, It's all good if he wants to use tariffs as a leveraging tool to get us to sell into China. And that's really what this entire thing was all about in the first place, was to get them off their horse and say, hey, we want to sell in your markets, okay? And guess who's benefiting from this, guys? Guess who's benefiting? It's the wealthy, the top 1%, the top 10%. That is who is benefiting today. The stock market's up 3.5%, I think, on the NASDAQ. I think the SPY's close to 3%. The Dow's up 1,000 points. So there you have it, guys. That is who, Donald Trump is. He's a wealthy man and he promotes the wealthy people. I know a lot of people think that he's all for the regular guy. You would think that, but, during this time period of, 150, 200% tariffs with China, I guarantee you a lot of businesses were hurt. They have to have clarity to be able to do business and to be able to bring in product into the country. And now, they're still in limbo. This is just a pause. These tariffs could go right back on depending on how these negotiations go. So, it's a tricky situation right now, but I think the train has ended. The story has ended. This deal will get done. China and the U.S. will finally get back to business together, and the stock market will rally once again beyond all-time highs, most likely. Now, that's not to say that, we could have a recession anytime soon, anytime here. We did have a contraction in Q1. We could have another contraction in Q2. It could be an official recession. But to be honest, I believe that the stock market will probably continue to rally. That's just my assumption, my hunch. I don't know, I could be wrong. We could see a dip again based on economic, downturn. We do have high interest rates, so the economy is struggling from that perspective. But, we'll see what happens. Now, the moral of this story is that you should not get your emotions involved in politics. Okay, emotions and politics and money do not mix. All right, I guarantee you that many Democrats and probably some Republicans fell for the bait and switch of Donald Trump. They fell for it. And what'd they do? 3, 4, 5 weeks ago when the market was at, 15% from all-time highs, they sold. They sold at the bottom. Right? Sell low, buy high. That is the standard way most investors operate. They sell at the lows and they buy the highs, and they never generate much wealth because they let their emotions get the best of them every single time. So, that's my advice to you, is disregard what the politicians are saying and the media is saying, and focus on the companies. The companies are what matter at the end of the day. These politicians, when it comes to money talks and bullshit walks. That's the way the world operates. Money talks every single time. I guarantee you that Donald Trump had people in his ear, whether it was Elon Musk or any of the big tech people, probably manufacturing CEOs and board of directors. They're probably calling his office left and right and saying, bro, you're gonna destroy our economy with this garbage, you know. And I guarantee you that people in China were doing the same thing with Z or whatever his name is. And that's the thing. Money talks and BS walks. And you got to remember that, is that countries want to be, you know, successful, and they want to build a good life. And people are going to push the narrative in the ways they need to get what they want. And so that's why you're seeing these tariffs, this little trade war that we're having, probably pretty much go away. It's over at this point. So, you know, at the end of the day, be careful what you listen to when it comes to your social media or traditional media or whatever it is, because they're going to sell you fear, uncertainty, and doubt about any politician or about anything in the economy. And that's the thing. Humans will keep going. We will still want to be prosper and build wealth. That's the way the world works. You cannot listen to the media or the narratives or Joe Blow on Facebook or Instagram saying that the economy is going to crash, because guess what? Money talks. It always talks. It always says the right message. Nope, you're not doing tariffs. Nope, you're going to negotiate, etc., etc. Okay? Now, you know, the people who sold out, what are you going to do now? You know, what are people going to do now that they sold out? And if the markets go back to all-time highs, you gonna buy back in? You know, or are you gonna wait until the next recession? It may not happen. It may not happen, guys. It very well may not happen. I mean, I'll give Donald Trump some credit. You know, with these tariffs being solved, now we have an opportunity to maybe sell into some markets that we never were. And so now you're gonna get maybe even more commerce. And, you know, he's also selling us to all these other rich countries like, I don't know, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE and whoever. They're investing in the United States because we got the AI chip sector, guys. This chip manufacturing that's going on in Phoenix, all right, Arizona, that is huge. That is the pinnacle of the world right there when it comes to the AI revolution. And you got people here getting sold into the FUD, taking the bait and switch and selling out at the lows just before we're on the cusp of an AI revolution, a chip technology revolution that we don't know what is going to happen. We have no clue what kind of discoveries are going to be made in the next 6 months, 12 months, a year, let alone the AI robots and the AI agents for white collar work, whatever it is. This is what I've been trying to say on this channel month over month, year over year. As a Tesla investor, I understand this. I know a lot of people make fun of me for, you know, keep pushing this, but I'm telling you guys, they aren't messing around. These engineers in Silicon Valley, whether it's Tesla, Microsoft, Google, they're not messing around. This economy is going to explode as far as the stock market goes. That's just how I believe. You know, I don't know. I'm more bullish than I ever have been before. And, you know, the Donald Trump tariff thing, I kind of blew it off. You know, I did a video on it where I was proposing maybe the tariffs would bring enough income in from, you know, tax perspective that we could not pay income tax. That was my little fun idea, but I knew it was all a bunch of BS at the end of the day. I knew Donald Trump was full of it. He wasn't going to hold true to these tariffs and make us rich and all this stuff. You know, I don't hate Donald Trump. I just think he's a buffoon half the time. He just says a bunch of stuff that's just kind of silly. But, you know, he did put China kind of in their place, you know, with these 160 or 200% tariffs. They came to the drawing board. You know, they said, oh, hey, we don't want to have a recession either. Let's just come back and you guys can finally sell in China. Isn't that cool? Wouldn't that be great if, you know, any business in the United States could finally freely trade with China? That'd be great. It's 1.1 billion people that we have pretty much zero access to. There's a couple companies probably doing business over there, but it's very difficult. So I hope that Donald Trump's team can, you know, kick ass and take names when it comes to these trade deals. Sorry, I'm kind of profanity there. I'm just fired up about my assumptions that Donald Trump was not really going to hold true to these tariffs. And I'm fired up that, hey, maybe things will work out, you know. He is my president. I'm going to support my president. So go USA, and let's do business, China. Let's do business, UK, and all the other countries. Let's keep doing business, guys. We're ready to spend our money, that's for sure. And yeah, we're ready to sell to you. We got stuff to offer as well. So hopefully things work out. Hopefully you guys didn't sell at the lows. And I don't know, hey, let me know. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you holding as far as the stock market is concerned? And yeah, I have a feeling now we're going to see a bull run, guys. We're going to see a bull run. And, you know, hey, it'd be interesting to see where interest rates go. We'll see if they go up or down. I think they're kind of going to hold steady for a while. I think Jerome Powell's still kind of timid about what all these tariffs are doing for now. Even though they're paused, I think he's still timid. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about the pause with China. That's the biggest thing with the tariffs, in my opinion. So anyways, you guys could, if you like the content, like and subscribe. And everyone, take a look at my previous video if you could. And thanks, guys. Have a great day.